the possession of Ana Murty-1955. I was only 8 years old when it happened. The year was 1955, and we lived in a cramped two-bedroom house on the outskirts of Salem, Massachusetts. My sister Anna was 12 then, with dark curls that caught the light and eyes so green they looked like bottle glass. She was everything I wasn't: brave, clever, always getting into places she shouldn't. I should have known something was wrong when she stopped talking to me. It started in October, just as the leaves began their descent into death. Anna had been exploring the old Blackwood property again, despite Father's strict warnings about staying away from that cursed place. The house had been empty for decades, ever since the Blackwood family disappeared without a trace back in 1923, but Anna was drawn to it like a moth to flame. "There's something in there," she told me one evening, her voice barely above a whisper. We were sitting on our bedroom floor, playing jacks by lamplight. "Something that wants to come home with me." I laughed it off. Anna was always making up stories, always trying to scare me, but when I looked at her face, I saw something that made my blood run cold. Her eyes weren't focused on me. They were staring at something just over my shoulder, something I couldn't see. The changes began slowly. Anna stopped eating Mother's apple pie, which had always been her favorite. She would sit at the dinner table, moving the food around her plate with mechanical precision but never taking a bite. When Mother asked if she felt all right, Anna would smile, but it wasn't her smile. It was too wide, showing too many teeth, and it never reached her eyes. Then came the sleepwalking. I would wake in the dead of night to find Anna's bed empty, her sheets cold to the touch. The first time, I found her standing in our backyard, perfectly still in her white nightgown, staring up at the new moon. Her bare feet were caked with mud and something else, something dark that I didn't want to identify. "Anna," I whispered, approaching her carefully, "what are you doing?" She turned to look at me and I nearly screamed. Her face was blank, emotionless, but her beautiful green eyes had turned black as coal. When she spoke, her voice sounded like autumn leaves scraping against tombstones. "She's calling me," Anna said. "She wants me to come back to her." "Who's calling you?" But Anna had already turned away, walking back toward the house with that same mechanical precision. I followed, my bare feet freezing on the October ground, and watched as she climbed the stairs to our room. By morning, she seemed normal again, asking me why I looked so tired. I tried to tell Mother and Father, but they dismissed it as childhood nightmares. "Your imagination is too active," Mother would say, smoothing my hair. "Anna is just going through changes. Girls her age often act strangely." But this wasn't normal teenage behavior. This was something else entirely. The sleepwalking became more frequent. Sometimes I would find Anna in the kitchen, standing before the open refrigerator, her nightgown soaked through with dew. Other times she would be in the living room, kneeling before our family Bible, her lips moving in what sounded like prayer but in a language I'd never heard before. One night in November, I decided to follow her. It was past midnight when I heard the familiar creak of Anna's bed springs. I kept my eyes closed, listening to her bare feet pad across our wooden floor. The front door opened and closed with barely a whisper. I counted to 10, then slipped from my bed and followed. The night was bitter cold, with a wind that cut through my pajamas like ice. Anna was already halfway down Elm Street, moving with purpose toward the old part of town. I shadowed her, keeping to the darkness between street lamps, my heart hammering against my ribs. She led me straight to the Blackwood property. The house loomed against the starless sky like a cancer, its broken windows staring down at us with hollow malevolence. The iron gate hung open on rusted hinges, creaking in the wind. Anna walked through it without hesitation, and I watched in horror as she approached the front door. But she didn't stop there. Instead, she walked around to the back of the house, where an old well sat covered by rotting wooden planks. Anna knelt beside it and began pulling away the boards with her bare hands, her movements swift and sure despite the darkness. The wood was ancient and waterlogged, but she tore through it like paper. When the last board fell away, Ana leaned forward and peered into the black depths below. Then she began to speak in that strange language again, her voice echoing down into the earth. The words seemed to slither up from the well like living things, wrapping around us both. And something answered her. The sound that rose from that well was unlike anything I'd ever heard, a voice that was both whisper and scream, both human and utterly alien. It spoke in the same strange tongue as Ana, and as it did, my sister began to change. Her back arched impossibly, her spine cracking like breaking kindling. Her neck twisted at an unnatural angle, allowing her to look directly at me while her body still faced the well. When she smiled, I saw that her teeth had grown longer, sharper, more numerous than any human mouth should hold. "She's been waiting so long," Ana said, but it wasn't Ana's voice anymore. It was older, colder, filled with a hunger that made my soul recoil. Waiting for someone young, someone pure, someone she can wear like a favorite dress. I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't obey. Terror had frozen me in place, turning my muscles to stone. Ana, or the thing wearing Ana's face, began to laugh, a sound like wind through dead leaves. "Your sister invited me in," the thing continued, rising to its feet with movements that defied every law of nature. "She opened the door and welcomed me home. Now I am her and she is me, and we are both nothing and everything." The transformation was complete now. The creature that had been my sister stood before me, its limbs elongated and twisted, its fingers ending in black talons that gleamed in the moonlight. Its face was a parody of Ana's, stretched and distorted like a reflection in a funhouse mirror. But the eyes, those horrible black eyes, held a spark of recognition. Somewhere deep inside that monstrosity, Ana was still trapped, still aware, still screaming. I found my voice then. "Give her back," I whispered. The creature laughed again. "She doesn't want to come back. She likes it here in the dark with me. She likes the taste of fear and the warmth of fresh blood. Would you like to join her?" It began moving toward me, its elongated limbs carrying it across the ground with spider-like grace. I stumbled backward, finally able to move, and ran. I ran faster than I'd ever run in my life, my bare feet slipping on wet leaves and broken glass. Behind me, I could hear the creature pursuing, its laughter echoing through the night like a funeral dirge. I made it home somehow, bursting through our front door and up the stairs to our bedroom. Ana was there, lying in her bed as if she'd never left, her breathing deep and peaceful. In the morning, she seemed perfectly normal, asking me why I looked so pale and frightened. But I knew the truth. Whatever had returned was not my sister. Over the following weeks, the changes became more pronounced. Ana's appetite returned, but she craved things that made Mother worry: raw meat, spoiled milk, anything that had begun to rot. She would sneak into the basement at night, and I would hear scratching sounds as if something was digging. Her reflection began to flicker. I would catch glimpses in mirrors and windows, one moment Ana as she'd always been, the next moment something else entirely. Something with too many teeth and eyes like black holes. The smell came next, a sweet, cloying odor that followed Ana wherever she went, like flowers left too long in stagnant water. It clung to her clothes, her hair, her skin, no matter how often she bathed. Father began to worry when the neighborhood cats started disappearing. Then Mrs. Henderson's dog went missing, followed by the Carmichael's pet rabbit. Ana would return from her evening walks with dirt under her fingernails and that terrible smile playing at the corners of her mouth. The worst part was that sometimes, just sometimes, I would catch glimpses of the real Ana trapped behind those black eyes. She would look at me with desperate pleading, her mouth forming words she couldn't speak, tears streaming down her cheeks before the thing inside her reasserted control. Christmas came and went like a fever dream. Ana sat through midnight mass with the rest of the family, but when the choir sang hymns, She mouthed different words, words in that ancient language that made the air around her shimmer with heat. When Father Murphy sprinkled holy water during the blessing, Anna's skin sizzled where the droplets touched. No one else seemed to notice. It was as if the creature had cast a spell over everyone except me, making them blind to the horror that wore my sister's face. By February, I had begun to lose hope. The real Anna appeared less and less frequently, her consciousness buried deeper with each passing day. The creature grew stronger, more confident, more cruel. It would whisper terrible things to me when we were alone, descriptions of what it had done to the missing animals, promises of what it would do to me if I told anyone the truth. But I was just a 9-year-old boy. Who would believe me? Then came the night that changed everything. I woke to find Anna standing over my bed, her form silhouetted against the window. But this time was different. This time, she was holding something, a kitchen knife, its blade gleaming in the moonlight. "It's time," she whispered, and I could hear both voices now, the creature's cold malevolence and Anna's desperate warning intertwined. "She wants you to join us. She says a family should stay together." The knife descended toward my chest, but at the last moment, Anna's true self broke through. Her hand trembled, fighting against the creature's control, and the blade veered away, embedding itself in my pillow instead. "Run," Anna gasped, her voice her own for just an instant. "Run before she—" The creature reasserted itself, and Anna's face twisted into that familiar two-eyed smile. But I had already rolled away, tumbling from the bed and racing for the door. Behind me, I heard the knife tear free from the pillow, heard the creature's frustrated shriek. I ran downstairs, screaming for Mother and Father. "Help! Something's wrong with Anna, she's trying to hurt me." But when I reached their bedroom, I found them both in a deep, unnatural sleep. No matter how hard I shook them, they wouldn't wake up. Their skin was cold to the touch, and their breathing was so shallow I could barely detect it. The creature had done something to them. I was alone. I ran back upstairs, my heart pounding. The bedroom door stood open, and inside I could see Anna's silhouette against the window. She was no longer fully human. Her spine had elongated, creating a hunchbacked profile, and her arms hung nearly to the floor. "I know you're there," the creature said without turning around. "Come in, little brother. Your parents can't help you now. They're dreaming such lovely dreams." I stayed in the doorway, too terrified to enter. "What did you do to them?" The creature laughed, finally turning to face me. Its face was a nightmare amalgamation of Anna's features stretched over something fundamentally inhuman. "They sleep the sleep of the enchanted. They won't wake until I allow it, or until they're no longer needed. Let them go, let Anna go." "But I am Anna," it said, and for a moment Anna's true voice broke through. "I'm still here. Please don't hurt me. Please help me." My heart broke hearing her real voice, but I knew it was a trap. The creature sensed my hesitation and pounced, moving with inhuman speed. Those black talons raked across my face, opening deep gashes from my forehead to my chin. I screamed, blood streaming down my face, as the creature pinned me to the floor. Those talons moved toward my throat, and I knew I was going to die. But then, from somewhere deep inside that twisted body, Anna made one final, desperate effort to save me. Her true self surfaced just long enough to grab the creature's own hand and drive those talons into her chest instead of mine. Black blood poured from the wounds, and the creature shrieked in surprise and pain. "The cross," Anna gasped with her own voice, pointing weakly toward our dresser where Mother's silver crucifix sat. "She can't touch blessed silver." Understanding flooded through me. I scrambled across the floor as the creature writhed in agony, its form beginning to shift and blur. Anna's body convulsed, and I could see something dark and oily trying to separate itself from her flesh. I grabbed Mother's crucifix, a family heirloom blessed by 3 generations of priests, and pressed it against the creature's forehead. The silver sizzled against that twisted flesh, and the thing that wore Anna's face let out an inhuman shriek that shattered our bedroom window. The creature's form became more unstable, its outline wavering like heat shimmer. Black smoke poured from the wounds where the blessed silver touched. The blessed silver burned deeper into the creature's flesh, and suddenly, the unnatural sleep that had claimed our parents broke. I heard Mother scream from downstairs, followed by Father's heavy footsteps thundering up the stairs. "Dear God in heaven," Mother gasped when she saw the scene. Anna's twisted form writhing on the floor, black smoke pouring from her wounds, and me clutching the bloody crucifix. Father didn't hesitate. He grabbed Anna's thrashing body, his face grim with understanding. "Help me hold her down," he commanded Mother. "We need to get her to the bed." Together, they wrestled the creature that wore Anna's face onto her bed. Father used his leather belts to bind her wrists and ankles to the bed frame while Mother ran to the kitchen, returning with more rope and our entire collection of religious items: crosses, holy water, prayer books, and the rosary that had belonged to Grandmother. "Call Father O'Malley," Father ordered as he tightened the restraints. "Tell him it's an emergency. Tell him." He paused, watching as Anna's head twisted completely around, her neck making sounds like breaking branches. "Tell him we need an exorcism." Mother's face went white, but she nodded and rushed to the telephone downstairs. For the next 3 hours we took turns watching Anna, or the thing inside her. It raged against the bonds, speaking in tongues, cursing us in languages that predated Christ. Sometimes Anna's real voice would break through, begging us to help her to make it stop. Those moments were the worst. Father O'Malley arrived just before dawn, his weathered face grave as he took in the scene. He was an old Irish priest who had seen things during the war that most men couldn't comprehend, but even he crossed himself when he saw what Anna had become. "How long has she been like this?" he asked, setting down his leather satchel filled with holy relics. "Months," I whispered. "It started in October." The priest nodded grimly. "The time of thinning veils, when the darkness finds it easiest to cross over." He began arranging his instruments: vials of holy water, blessed oil, his worn Bible, and an ornate silver cross that seemed to make the creature recoil even from across the room. The exorcism lasted 18 hours. I won't describe everything that happened in that room. Some horrors are too terrible to put into words. But I will say that the thing inside Anna fought with the fury of the damned. It told us secrets about our family that no one should know, made promises that would have tempted saints, and showed us visions of hell that still haunt my dreams. Father O'Malley never wavered. His voice grew hoarse from Latin prayers, his hands bled from gripping the silver cross, but he continued the ritual even when Anna's body levitated 3 feet off the bed, even when the temperature in the room dropped so low our breath came out in frozen clouds. Finally, as the sun set on the second day, something inside Anna broke. The creature let out one final, earth-shaking shriek and poured out of her mouth as black smoke, dissolving into nothingness as it touched the blessed air. Anna collapsed back onto the bed, her body returning to its normal proportions, her breathing shallow but steady. When she opened her eyes, they were green again, beautiful human green. "Is it over?" she whispered. Father O'Malley slumped in his chair, exhausted. "It is finished, child. You are free." But it wasn't over. Not really. The creature was gone, banished back to whatever dark realm it had emerged from, but Anna was forever changed by her ordeal. She never spoke of what she had experienced during those months of possession, but sometimes I would catch her staring at shadows with haunted eyes. We moved away from Salem that spring, Father claiming a job opportunity in Ohio. But I knew the real reason. He had finally seen what I had been trying to tell them all along. The official story was that Anna had suffered a nervous breakdown, but the scratches on my face and the burn marks on our bedroom floor told a different tale. Anna recovered, at least on the surface. She grew up, got married, had children of her own. But she never returned to Massachusetts, never spoke of that terrible winter when something else wore her skin and spoke with her voice. As for me, I never forgot. I became a researcher of the paranormal, dedicating my life to understanding the forces that had nearly destroyed my family. I learned that the Blackwood property had been built over an ancient burial ground, that the well in the backyard had been used for darker purposes than drawing water. The house burned down in 1962, supposedly from faulty wiring. But I knew better. Some things are too dangerous to leave standing, too evil to let others discover. Ana died 3 years ago, peacefully in her sleep at the age of 79. At her funeral, I noticed something that chilled me to the bone. Every flower in her casket spray had withered black by the time they lowered her into the ground. Sometimes, late at night, I still wonder if we truly banished that creature, or if it simply learned to hide better, to wait more patiently for its next opportunity. Sometimes I wake from dreams where Ana stands at the foot of my bed, smiling that too wide smile, whispering in a language older than human civilization. But that's a fear I'll carry to my own grave. The terrible knowledge that some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed again. The year was 1955, and I was only 8 years old when I learned that evil was real, that it could wear the face of someone you love, and that sometimes saving someone means being willing to destroy them. I've never forgotten that lesson, and I pray to God that I'll never have to use it again.